confident in these guys. Micah Parsons believes. This is an unusual week for Micah Parsons. Every build-up to a Sunday, Monday, or Thursday night game for the last 3 seasons has involved him a centerpiece of the Dallas Cowboys game plan. This week, the Cowboys are preparing for the Pittsburgh Steelers without their defensive star as the focal point. An unfortunate incident at the end of Dallas' win over the New York Giants last week saw an opposing lineman roll onto Parsons' leg, leading to a high ankle sprain. It's a strange occurrence for Parsons himself and those around the locker room, as he has become a staple in this lineup. He opened up this week about dealing with those emotions as he tries to get back to the action. Even with Parsons in the lineup, Dallas has showed real growing pains in a new system under Mike Zimmer. But these adversities have not wavered his belief in this Cowboys defensive unit. I'm very confident in these guys. At the end of the day, I've been priming Marshawn Kneeland for this moment for a while now, he said Tuesday from the Dallas locker room, where he moved about with the aid of a walking boot and a scooter. You got Tyrus Wheat, who keeps getting better, you got Carl Lawson. I don't really think it's going to be a huge drop-off. Along with Parsons' absence, the Cowboys will be without DeMarcus Lawrence, who now heads to the team's injured reserve with a foot injury. That means the Cowboys' defense must navigate this week without their premier playmaker and most tenured veteran leader. The Cowboys improved immensely, especially in stopping the run, on a short week against the Giants. As far as offensive capacity, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not a significant level above Dallas' divisional foe, but have the pieces capable of making an impact when given an opportunity. This group, now without Parsons and Lawrence, must carry over that performance for at least one game, but likely more. It is admirable for the star to posit such belief in his guys. But there is undoubtedly a dip to come without these two, especially Parsons, lining up on the defensive front. Cowboys coaches share why Mazi Smith is finally coming into his own. Mazi Smith had the best game of his career in the Dallas Cowboys' Week 4 win over the New York Giants, and coaches share why he is finally making a breakthrough. Mazi Smith entered the 2024 NFL season with a lot to prove. The Dallas Cowboys' 2023 first-round pick had a disappointing rookie campaign, then underwent off-season shoulder surgery. There were plenty of questions about whether Smith would ever live up to his first-round status, but in the team's Week 4 win over the division rival New York Giants, Smith finally had the breakout game the team has been waiting for. Smith was dominant. He only accounted for 3 tackles, but consistently clogged running lanes as the Cowboys' defense held the Giants to only 26 rushing yards on 24 carries. Their longest run of the game was 5 yards. But what deserves the credit for Smith's major turnaround? While he put in the hard work during training camp and the preseason, the coaches have seen an increase in confidence from the former Michigan star that is allowing him to let loose on the field. Mazi Smith, Dallas Cowboy. Mazi Smith, Dallas Cowboy. I think Mazi has a lot more confidence right now, defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer said, per DallasCowboys.com. When we got to training camp, I'm not sure he had that kind of confidence, but I think it's continued to grow. More times you catch him doing things right, the better he does things. Hopefully he's walking around with his head high and his chest out this week. More, will the Dallas Cowboys be buyers or sellers at NFL trade deadline? Cowboys head coach added, getting more confident, comfortable. Those are 2 things that I see from him each and every day. More of a consistency, particularly the nose stunt, he hit 2 of those nicely in the game. It's a game of consistency, but I definitely see a more confident Mazi Smith. Smith said that finally trusting in the people around him has allowed him to focus on the basics and get back to what made him a top prospect. Smith knows he can anchor the defensive line, and trusting the pieces around him allows him to get his job done. Mazi Smith, Dallas Cowboy. Mazi Smith, Dallas Cowboy. If Smith can continue to shine, it will be a much-needed boost for the Cowboys' front 7 that will be without star defenders Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence for an unknown amount of time. The next test for Smith comes in primetime once again as the Cowboys travel to the Steel City to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football. Four-time Pro Bowler returns to practice in time for potential Cowboys-Chargers trade. Cleveland Browns running back Nick Chubb will reportedly start practicing on Wednesday, but will he even play a snap with his current team before they trade him? A healthy version of Chubb is arguably the best player on the roster, as the second-round pick has established himself as one of the game's elite runners while on the field. Since entering the league in 2018, the Georgia product made 4 Pro Bowl teams while recording 6,511 yards and 48 touchdowns on 1,238 attempts, 5.3 yards per carry. Chubb suffered a gruesome injury early in the 2023 season, but he should be back on the field before long. The #Browns have designated RB Nick Chubb to return off PUP, and his practice window is now open. They will have 21 days to put him on the active roster. A return is near. The only problem is that Chubb's arrival might be too little and too late. At 1-3, the Cleveland Browns are already facing an uphill battle to make the playoffs. Deshaun Watson continues to disappoint, as the controversial passer is arguably the worst starting quarterback in football. Put simply, it's impossible to win games with a $230 million liability at the game's most important position, which means the Browns could trade the aging Nick Chubb for the promise of younger, cheaper talent. Assuming the second-round pick can find his old form, the Dallas Cowboys and Los Angeles Chargers could fight for his services. Cowboys, Chargers likely Nick Chubb trade destinations. The Dallas Cowboys find themselves one game behind the Washington Commanders in what might be the most talented division in football. Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb are great players, but this offense needs some extra muscle if they want to take down second overall pick Jaden Daniels and company. The LSU product is taking the world by storm, setting record after record while completing 82.1% of his passes for 897 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception while adding another 218 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. Nick Chubb can't single-handedly match this production, but the trade candidate could play an instrumental role for Dallas down the stretch. The Cowboys might have the worst running back duo in the league. Led by the underwhelming duo of Rico Dowdle and an aging Ezekiel Elliott, Dallas has averaged just 3.5 yards per carry as a team. This must improve, and a Nick Chubb trade could be the way to do it. Owner Jerry Jones believes in the value of the run game, as he used a top 5 pick on a running back in the 2016 NFL Draft and felt comfortable giving Tony Pollard a fully guaranteed $10 million for 1 season of work in 2023. Jones believes running the ball keeps the opposing offense off the field, and a healthy version of Chubb would easily be the best back on this team. Running the ball with Jim Harbaugh. For better or worse, Jim Harbaugh's Chargers will live and die with the running game. Justin Herbert is banged up, the wide receivers are nothing special, and the tight ends are non-existent. Los Angeles overcame this early in the season, as one-time Raven J.K. Dobbins dominated opposing teams on the ground. However, the former second-round pick has regressed in a major way, while big-money signee Gus Edwards has been a complete bust. Harbaugh will never give up on his desire to run the ball, which means this team could trade for Nick Chubb. While wide receiver is a bigger need, making a move for a reliable set of hands doesn't mesh with Harbaugh's vision. The former Michigan coach believes the run game is vital to the success of the offense, and a Nick Chubb trade could be the best way to install some life into the ground attack. If he recaptures his pre-injury form, Chubb could do some damage behind a talented Chargers offensive line. David joined LWOS as an NFL writer in 2017. A passionate fan of Boston sports, Latham covers the Patriots, fantasy football, and breaking news across the league.